britches, everyone. It's time to get serious because we got a hurricane on the horizon. Something bad's happening?
Fucking sucks. They're thinking it might upgrade to hurricane.
Things didn't go to plan, people, like always.
I'm doing something that I said I would never do on this channel. So I said I'd never ask for money.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Sailing GBU. Time to tighten your britches, everyone. It's time to get serious because we got a hurricane on the horizon already in 2023.
This one's unique as we don't usually get our second named storm until mid-July. Also, it formed far out in the Atlantic where storms usually get their start much later. And the first hurricane of the season doesn't typically happen until August.
People are getting scared in the anchorages. Everyone's shaking now in their boots, and it's time to put in action to save your boat. And what we're doing first is we're checking out an anchorage that possibly could be the one for us for this said hurricane.
Yeah, for the storm, for this said hurricane or any future coming up said hurricane. So this one's really early in the season. It's coming right at Puerto Rico. It's right now just going to go south. I'm hoping if it does, generally they don't come over and over and over. So if this storm comes this close, usually the rest of them will leave us alone. So this could be a good sign for us and we could be all happy and excited. But either way, we're going to have a safe spot to keep the double D no matter what happens. Because the Dolphin already died once, it ain't dying again.
So we're going to be looking into some finger cuts, right? Into the mangroves, and we're going to try to decide if this is our correct spot. So come with us to explore this real quick, and then later on we're going to be getting ready.
I know, a lot of work, a lot of sweating in the sun. So it says you could get the boat up into here, and it's definitely really deep right here. It's definitely deep enough to anchor in, so you could put the boat here. You could put 2 to 3 anchors off that side, one in the front. You could put one in the front. Well, I guess you could just put it right here and let it spin. There's enough room that it could move, to be honest. You wouldn't have to hold it in one place. So I think this could be a nice little hurricane hole. What do you think?
Well, if you guys are new to our channel, we are hurricane pros on our boat. This is like, what season are we in?
This will be our 5th hurricane season.
Our 5th hurricane season. We did underestimate a hurricane once. We're kind of shaking our boots.
You know, boat life never gives it up easy.
I think one of the solar panels might be flapping now. We're having some technical difficulties. Could have took the bimini down and now we're regretting it, huh?
We should have.
I'll link that video on here if you want to see that nonsense that happened to us. But we no longer underestimate them. We take most hurricanes seriously. So this looks like a good spot to me. I think there's protection all the way around.
All right, so if you're kind of new to boating, or not new to boating but new to hurricanes, basically my theory, and I think it's pretty much everyone's theory, it's nothing I came up with, but what you want to do when a storm is coming, with circular storms, cyclones, or hurricanes, they turn. So you're going to get, if the wind gets to 100 miles an hour, you're dealing with category 3, category 4, even if category 1, you're getting close to 100 miles an hour. So the problem with anchoring in those storms is you're going to get a heavy wind from north, south, east, and west in a few hours, different time periods. So what happens is your anchor has a good chance of unsetting, and then when it's blowing 100 miles an hour, it's not going to reset to like factory standards. So you can be in a pickle there. So what's going to be put most of the stress on your boat is not really the wind so much, because you can take your windage down more or less, but it's the waves happening to your boat is what's going to make your boat jump up and down. It's going to be hitting the side of your boat, making your boat turn side to side. So the waves is what is going to hurt you. If you're tied off to cleats and one of your cleats gets broken off, now the wind can actually go inside a hole of your boat and you can lift. I actually had a boat one time where the deck completely separated from the hull and it opened like a hamburger bun, and obviously it sank when that sort of thing happened. So the reason I really love this anchorage is because obviously you have the direct insulation from the waves with the mangroves that are right next to you. It doesn't do much for the wind. These mangroves are only 20 feet tall, so it's not going to do much for the wind. It'll keep the wind off your deck a little bit though. But not only is it insulated directly, there's also a big line of keys, cayos, that are about a half a mile to a mile from these, which are going to break up that initial large swell that's going to come from the Caribbean Ocean. There's about 400 miles between Venezuela and here, so the waves can get pretty big for that. But that's, say it's 20-foot waves, 10-foot waves, that's going to knock them down to 3 or 4, and then by the time they get to these keys, it's going to knock it down to maybe even 1-foot waves that you're going to be getting in here. So that's the basic principle. Protect yourself from every direction and insulate yourself from the swell. The swell is the killer in hurricanes.
All right, we're heading off though, because we are heading to our favorite hub on the south side of Puerto Rico, because
South side?
that's where we're gonna go to anchor and prep our boat. And then if we're still early on the storm, if the storm's coming, this is an option.
We're gonna run back. Yeah, we're only a few miles from the anchorage. We're gonna need some food and some hospitality, so we won't be staying out here in the wilderness today. We're gonna head back there, but I think we can do a throwback to the old ways. Even though we got Clifford barking like the dirty dog he is, I think we can sail off anchor here.
All right.
Now I could obviously just hulk that anchor completely, but people get mad about my back and this and that and the other crazy thing. So what I'll do
Just
is
admit it, you couldn't do it.
I can do it, and I will do it if you want to get buck wild. But to make it simpler, let's say I was incapacitated and Kristen had to pull the anchor. This is a simple way to put a little bit of jib out. I'll catch a little more wind and it will pop that anchor.
Nothing like a little bit of rain to sprinkle and help. Right, Matt?
I think so, yeah. I think that's a real thing. There we go, we popped her. So basically the way that usually works when I do that, just a little tiny bit of head sail, because I have a stay sail stay. So if I let out too much, it becomes a real problem to try to get the sails over. So I let out just enough. Basically what happens is it'll pull one way, but once it switches and it goes to the other side, it actually, when the whole boat swings, it usually pops the anchor and it's pretty easy to get up. And you're usually drifting into deeper water, so even if you leave your chain down, you can tow it out. I've done that before as well. If you have to get back real quick. I had to trip over Kristen Shader 100 times trying to get there, but we sailed off anchor. Everything did great, and you know, you might have to sail off anchor one day. Feel free to go to Uncle Matty's Anchor Sailing Academies.
is one of my favorite sails because the bay has flat water, it has the perfect amount of wind, and it's just an easy, breezy down sail.
And it's fun to dodge the jet skis too, and the other boats, so that's always entertaining. But yeah, it's a great little flat water spot. There's some reefs and some hazards, some shoals that you have to go around, so it's fun to get around those. And it's overall pretty nice. I think I might set up a racing cup here. Kristen was telling me I don't think we can win because our boat's pretty slow, but I said, you put like a handicap in for how heavy your boat is. So I think we might set up a cruiser's race here. $100 entry, winner takes all. Ain't no second place trophies on GBU. So we're pulling to the anchorage here, trying to get nestled in. I know it's good holding here, but I want to get some wind blockage too because I got a lot of preparations to make for these storms. But the northerlies don't really come in too hard, so I think we're gonna be good. We're invincible. All right, guys, so today is something coming that's been a long time coming. It's finally here. I'm doing something that I said I would never do on this channel. So I said I'd never ask for money. I said I'd never ask you guys for anything. I'd never do a GoFundMe. I'd never do a fundraiser to try to build up money for something like that. And, you know, the day has come where I've made a liar out of myself for that. I always said I'd never do a GoFundMe to live a lavish lifestyle or buy a new boat or get something or even get a windlass. I know you'll like that one. But I said GoFundMes and stuff like that are for when your mama needs a new kidney. So thank God my mom is doing great and my dad's doing okay. He's a little wild, but my buddy, my brother, he's like a family member to me. A good friend of mine a couple years ago was diagnosed with end renal stage failure. So his kidneys have, for lack of a better term, I'm not a doctor, his kidneys have sizzle popped into oblivion. So he has to do like dialysis and a bunch of crazy stuff too.
I don't know if that's appropriate to say.
We talk trash. He's my homie. I love this kid and we came up through the struggles together. So I told him, I said, just because you're dying don't mean I'm going to get soft on you now. It was never that way for us. But I think we have an opportunity to help him out a lot. I can't do anything for him physically, and he's not getting any better. I said we give it a couple years, but he's getting down to the wire now where he could use my help, and the only way really that I can help is by trying to ask the homies out there to help. So if you got $1 this week, don't buy a t-shirt, don't send it to me, don't buy me a beer. If you got $1, I'm going to link the GoFundMe below. If you got $1 to spare and you want to help out the homie, go ahead and check that out. But it's not my GoFundMe. The money's not coming to me. It's going to his family and his brother. But I think a little bit goes a long way when there's, a bunch of us doing it. So that being said, I got my own work to do today. Ray, I love you. And let's get on with it. So you may not have seen our hurricane videos before. You may have never been on a boat during a hurricane. You may be wondering what the heck is going on, what the heck are they doing? So basically, as we all know, when a hurricane comes, the big winds come with it. And on a sailboat, you have a rig that goes on our rig 50 feet in the air, sometimes higher. So little things like a sail being furled or even in a sail pack on top may look pretty streamlined, but when the wind can get up to 100 miles an hour or so, those little things can put a lot more pressure on your rig, catch a lot more wind, and put a lot more pressure on your anchors and stuff like that. So one of the most important things to do, one of the simplest things, is to get your windage down, take all your sails off, take your dodger off. Anything big, cloth that could come loose and catch a lot of wind could be catastrophic. So you can lash them down.
Catastrophic.
Could be catastrophic. You can lash them down, which would help them coming loose, but I prefer to just take them down. And also it gives you a chance to look at everything, look at your clues, look at everything that, you know, check out your system. So it's a great chance for that, and let's get to it. So first thing I gotta do is take down Kristen's shader. She loves this for editing in the V-berth. Really cools the boat down. It's a cool homemade shenanigan that I came up with. But I think for taking this head sail down, we're gonna be tripping all over it, and it's gonna become a hazard for sure. So we gotta take that down first.
It's time to take down the head sail, and this gets crazy. It's not a smooth way of doing it, but it's how we do it. So let's get right into it.
You're gonna have to go back in the cockpit and unfurl it, and then hold the line. Hold that line. Wait a second, give me a second here.
Something bad's happening? Oh, shizzle popper. Shizzle popper. Oh, shizzle popper. Why'd you let it all go?
I have to sit up here and do it, and I can't say exactly what to do. Fucking sucks. Now I have to go up there and get it later. Up the mast.
Things didn't go to plan, people, like always, but nothing harmful happened. We're just gonna have to go up the mast when we put it back on.
It's one of the design flaws for the CDI furler is that everything hooks to the line. So if you clip a line to it and then you go to unfurl it so you can bring it down, it'll wrap whatever line you've clipped to it all around it, and then you'll have to rewrap and bunch it and run it, and it makes 30-40 wraps to come out. So a little bit of a nightmare, pain in the butt. But the CDI is a lightweight rig. We love it, It's good in a lot of ways, but taking it up and down, it's not the best.
And the older we get, we don't like going up there.
Well, I don't mind going up there. I got a young buck out here in the anchorage that'll come winch me up. It's just, your boy's putting on those LBs later in my life, and
I'm not getting any
it's
stronger.
a little harder for Kristen to winch me up there, so. All right, so we have to flake our sail now, which is just zigzagging it back and forth so we can fold it up and put it away. This sail is enormous, so on our deck, if we try to do it while it's all down, you can't even get it started. So I hook the stay sail halyard to it, get a little bit of the sail off the deck, and it makes it a lot easier to flake.
Guys, when I tell you it's 100 degrees, I'm not kidding. I really think it could be 100 degrees out here. We're dying of heat. We just had to take like a time out, and I feel like we've only done one thing so far. So We're back in it now. We're back in the game. We're gonna take off our mainsail now, and that's a bit easier than the head sail. Are you hot?
Hell yeah, it's too hot. It's too hot out here. The rent is too high and it's too hot.
What does that mean?
Just two things that are true in life and will always be true. The rent is too high and it's too damn hot. All right, so I gotta share something with you. This will show you how much love and attention I get as the captain of this boat. So I just wrapped this rope up about, you figure eighted it the way I've been doing it for, I don't know, the last 4 years. And Kristen said, oh wow, that looks cool. So I thought I'd share this move with you. Leave yourself a long tail, give it a couple wraps. Hey, you can even give it 3. And you feed your U through there, over the top, tighten her down your tail, then you can just carry your ropes around, then you can break them down super easy. You got it through that way.
Okay, show us a slow-mo of going through the loop.
Then it goes around and around. Then you can actually throw this rope the full distance of this rope without tangling it.
Okay, so once you wrap it around the body,
yep.
Then you put it up through, but not all the way.
Nope.
And then you wrap it around.
Wrap it
like
around,
a noose.
like a noose. Then you cinch it.
Cool! High five, Captain.
High five. Then you can tie it on any old thing and just leave your rope hanging, untie it, unloop it through, and then you can throw.
Here we go. Let's hope that my sail bag didn't incinerate any more than the last time it incinerated. So let's hope everything stayed together.
All right, first thing I gotta do is let my lazy jackers down. So be prepared.
Okay.
Oh, he grabbed one of our babies! Those are ours! Oh my gosh. Ruthless.
A needlefish just grabbed one of Matt's baby pet fishes from under our boat, and he's mad about it.
I got baby puppies down here. I can jump in and get you, needlefish. So the next part, we're not actually getting too deep into today, but for educational purposes, I'll take time out of my day to bestow my sailor knowledge upongst thee. But it's our solar panels. Obviously these are big, stiff kites that with a lot of wind, you're definitely gonna wanna take these down. But that's one of the difficulties of living on a boat and maintaining your boat and keeping it safe all at the same time. The storm, which has just gotten a name, which is always a bad sign for us, is about 2 to 3 days away at this point. So to survive on this boat for the next 3 days with my lovely lady, Kristen, we're gonna want power. We're gonna want that Netflix and chill time. So I have to kind of leave these up until the 11th hour, but luckily with my new panels, all you have to do is loosen these bolts a little bit and they slide right out, and I have quick connects on the power end, so it just comes off real quick. Now this storm, these might be able to stay up for the whole storm. Like we said, it just got named, but it is a tropical storm still at the moment. They're thinking it might upgrade to hurricane tonight or tomorrow morning, but it's gonna hit Guadalupe, which is some pretty tall mountains directly, which is sad for the people of Guadalupe, but it's gonna hit as a Cat 1, and the mountains I think are gonna break it back up, and they're saying now it's gonna be a tropical storm again. But it can change a lot. They had it going north of here, now they have it going south of here, so we don't know what's gonna be going on. But what we do know is that on the bright side, Uncle Matty might be getting himself some 10-foot waves out this deal.
So either we're going to strap them down depending on the wind, or take them off.
Yeah, take them off or strap them down. I'd like to strap them down if I can. Tropical storm, I'm just tying them down. If Cat 1, I'm gonna have to take them off. Alright, so I had to dig, as you can see, pretty deep into my boat to find these parts of the anchor that I had hidden away. And these are called the flukes. But I'll tell you what's not a fluke. Is having your boat safe during a hurricane. And that's, can take that to the bank. This anchor has a special place in my heart. A real one. A big, massive sailing channel. I'm not going to say a real one. I'll take that back. A gentleman that has a sailing channel. Pretty popular one. He gave us, well, he didn't give us nothing. He gave this anchor to a friend of his in Puerto Rico, and then that friend is a mutual friend, and they gave it to us. And he tried to sneak in later because he tried to go to Colabrita, and he broke his stern anchor, and he was kind of trying to nudge me into giving this anchor back, and I said, I'll sell it back to you. 30% markdown from us, Marine boy. I know you got it. So, you know, Uncle Matty ain't no stooge. So I drove a hard bargain. I said, you will never, ever get this anchor back. Because this is a nice storm anchor. It's huge. It ends up being, you know, almost arm width worth of flukes there. And it's great because it breaks down. It'll save your life, save your boat, but it can break down and not take up a ton of room. I used to have a giant anchor that I used to have over there, and it weighed 10 gazillion pounds, and it was rough. So we got this one. We're never giving it back, and that's just that. Okay, I remembered how to put it back together now. All right, so now that I have my anchor and my big chain ready to go, I'm not gonna spend any time doing that if I'm ever under duress. So that thing's ready to rip and ride. I'm not gonna put it out just yet. The storm has a few things that it's doing. So if it remains a category 1, once it jumps across the islands, we're only about a 30-minute motor to that anchorage that we went to earlier in the video. So if I'm gonna set up 2 anchor system, I'm gonna do it over there. We're gonna be here. The whole storm as it sits now will blow through this anchorage in about 4 or 5 hours, so I can be on the throttle for that and just kind of motor against some of the wind. Right now it's only supposed to be 40-50, so I think 1 anchor will suffice for that, maybe a little more chain out, and you know, so we'll be good. But if the storm is going to get worse, I have my big anchor ready, and I'll be able to head for the hills and get all that taken care of.
All right, guys, we're pretty much set up now for whatever the storm is coming. We have backup plans. We have other anchorages. We have multiple anchors. We still have some work to do, obviously, when the storm gets here, but we're living on the boat, so we don't want to suffer with no power and
power
stuff.
up.
And our Dodger shades it and keeps a decent amount of coolness in
but
the boat.
I can get the panels down and the Dodger down the evening before it's supposed to show up, and that'll only take me 45 minutes to an hour, so it's not going to be a big deal.
So we're prepared, and this is just the beginning of hurricane season, though. So
yeah, we got a long hard road of fighting these storms. It's an El Nino year, so I don't know. This is uncommonly early that they're coming this year, but I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully it all works out and we all survive, and the Double D just does what the Double D do. She been through plenty of hurricanes though, so she ain't worried about it. And back to my homeboy Ray. If you want to help save a life and you got a few bones to spare, feel free to check that link below. It's got all the deets. Basically, I'm not a bad friend. I didn't wait this long, just waiting because I wanted to see before I tried to help out how less dire his situation is. His brother, we have found out, is now a match, so we're kind of just waiting on the money. And obviously, that's everyone in life. We're all just waiting on the money. I'm waiting on the money too. But I just feel bad because he used to be one of my sparring partners back in the day, but he was never real good at it. So I feel like I used to just be ripping those kidney shots on him, and I feel terrible for, you know, giving it to him a few times. So obviously I want him to feel better, and, you know, I want him to be around long enough to meet Matty Jr. But either way, if you got a chance, check that out. I love him. and I want him to be here as long as he can. So maybe we can do something for him. We can. And if we can't, say, you know what, Uncle Matty, shame on you. You said you wasn't no beggar, and here you are shaking that can at the street. So if you want to cuss me out, cuss me out. I don't care. I'll do what I got to do to try to help my homie.
Thanks for watching this episode, guys. These flies. There's flies in my face. Thanks for watching this week's episode. Make sure you subscribe, comment down below, give us a thumbs up, and we are going to see you in the next episode, and it's probably going to be in the storm if the storm comes. If the storm doesn't come, it's not going to be the storm video, but if the storm comes, it will be. So stay tuned for next week, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.